So the MLS All Star Fan 11 has just been announced, and unsurprisingly, most of the guys that got selected in the All Star Fan 11 are from teams that has a very strong fan base. And this is really the reason why I do not like the MLS All Star Fan 11, because most of the guys that get selected in the Fan 11 are just guys come from a team that has a very popular fan base. And in other words, the Fan 11 is basically a popularity contest. Like, you could literally be a player that's not having a good season, but if you're like on a team like Atlanta United or Seattle Sounders and that the fans love you, then yeah, you're of course are going to get the vote and you're going to get in because those fan base are just going to stop the vote, and that's why those players are going to get in. And you're going to see that there are going to be some players that is the reason why they got into the All-Star game. And by the way, all 11 of these players are going to be going to the MLS All-Star game, which means that that's now almost half of the roster done in terms of the MLS 24 team roster. There's going to be 13 more spots, including 2 more spots up for the commissioner to choose. But let's talk about this All-Star Fan 11, and we're going to start with the goalkeeping position, and it's the last year goalkeeper that started in the 2018 MLS All Star Game, Brad Guzan, that has been selected by the fans from Atlanta United, and you're going to see a lot of Atlanta United kind of selection. I think there's let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's going to be 4 players that's selected in the All Star Fan 11. I forgot how many Atlanta player did get selected last year, but it's clear that the reason why there's a lot of Atlanta player is because that is the most popular fan base, and that's the fan base that just pretty much stuffed every single vote at the ballots to make sure that those players are going to get into the All-Star. So that, of course, is the third All-Star selection for Brad Guzan. And then in defense, we got Graham Susie from Sporting KC, and he's actually the most... He is actually selected the most All-Star out of any other player in this list. Most of these guys barely have got like 2 or even 3 All-Star selection. Graham Susie, this is his 7th All-Star selection, and he has pretty much been selected as a MLS All-Star player ever since 2012. I think the only season that he actually missed the All-Star game was back in 2016 when he was not selected. But from 2012 to 2019, he pretty much been selected every single year as an All-Star. And although Graham Susie, I don't think he had a very decent season. He's one of the most beloved player in MLS, and that, Sporting KC is another team that has a very strong fan base, and they're going to make sure that they're going to stuff the vote to make sure that Zuzi is going to be in the MLS All-Star game. Now, another defender that's going to be in the MLS All-Star game is going to be Walker Zimmerman. Now, this one, I do agree the fact that Walker Zimmerman deserved to be in this All-Star game because he's arguably the best defender in MLS right now. You can see there, I know that I said about how the MLS All-Star Fan 11, most of the players that is in this selection probably shouldn't be in this selection if it wasn't for the fans. But there are guys that should definitely deserve a spot, and Walker Zimmerman is an example of that. And as I said, he's arguably the best defender in the league, probably one of the most underrated defender in the league. And I'm very happy to see him get selected to be in the All-Star game. I have a feeling he's probably also going to be starting in the All-Star game too. Another defender that's going to be in the All-Star game is going to be Leandro Gonzalez Perez for Atlanta United. That's his first All-Star selection. LGP has been having a okay kind of season. I wouldn't say he's been having kind of an All-Star kind of season, because I can definitely think that there are a couple of defenders that definitely deserve that spot. But then again, like I said earlier about the fact that if you're on a team as popular as Atlanta, you don't really need to worry about it. You have to be the best defender in the league to get into the All-Star game, because your fans are always going to find a way to stuff the ballot so that you can get into the All-Star game. And then in the midfielder, we have Nani from Orlando City that got selected for his first All-Star selection. I have a feeling Orlando City fans had done the same thing as Atlanta fans did, which is they decided to stuff the vote. Although Nani has been having a decent season. I mean, he's been probably one of the most important player on that team, and it's understandable why he's one of the most important player on this team is because he's the highest paid player on that team, and he is the most influenced player on that Orlando City team. And then follow up, we got Pity Martinez selected for his first All-Star selection for Atlanta United. And I think out of all 11 of these guys that I feel like if it wasn't for the fans, he would definitely not be selected in the All-Star game. It has to be Pity Martinez. Maybe Brad Guzan, though, because I really think Brad Guzan, if you ask me, I don't think I would put him on the list of the top 5 goalkeepers right now in MLS. But Pity Martinez, there is no doubt he shouldn't be in the All-Star game. Like, the season that he's been having this season hasn't been great at all. And the fact that, the only reason, like I said, the only reason why he got into this All-Star game is because, Atlanta United, they want to put their biggest star and the guy that they paid the most this offseason to get into the game, even though he has not done well whatsoever. Like, he's only scoring 1 goal for the team, and I also believe he only had like 2 assists with the team. Like, a guy with 1 goal and 2 assists gets to the All-Star game is a little bit kind of head scratching. And I understand that Pity Martinez last year was the South American Player of the Year, but there is no way after you've seen the season that he's been having, there's no way that he should deserve to be an All-Star. And the only reason why he is going to go to the All-Star game is because of the fans. And that Atlanta, basically, their fans basically just stuff the vote so that Pity Martinez gets in. And then the other midfielder that's going to be going in is going to be Jonathan Dos Santos for the Galaxy, which that is going to be his second All-Star selection. JDS has been having a pretty decent season. Not like spectacular, but I think it's definitely decent enough that he deserved to go to the All-Star. And since he, of course, are with the Galaxy is another franchise that has a lot of fans that decided to just kind of stuff the vote to make sure some of their best player gets into the All-Star game. And then follow that, we got another midfielder, and the last Atlanta United player that's going to be on this All-Star Fan 11 is going to be Ezequiel Barco, which that is going to be his second All-Star selection. Now, this year, I do agree that Ezequiel Barco deserved to be in the All-Star. Last year, when he was selected as the All-Star, I would have probably said the same thing with what I said about Pity Martinez, of how in the world is he in the All-Star game where he's been underperforming and have been just spending on the bench and had some misconduct with the team. But this season, I think he definitely deserves it because he's been by far the most important player in this Atlanta team, and that, yeah, he deserved to get into the All-Star selection. Like, of the Atlanta players that I think is the most deserved to be in the All-Star, it has to be Ezequiel Barco, of the way that he has really shown this year why Atlanta paid $15 million a year ago. And then next up, in the forward position, we got Carlos Vela from LAFC. That's his second All-Star selection, and I won't be surprised if Carlos Vela is going to be the captain of this team. Like, he's basically the heavy MVP kind of candidate for this league, and that he's probably now just, like, if the MVP award is going to award now, there's no doubt that Carlos Vela is going to win the award. I mean, he leads the league in goals and also in assists. I mean, when is the last time you ever see a player that is able to lead goals and assists, and that we're now already halfway through the season? It has just been an incredible season that Carlos Vela has. Probably the best ever season he has ever had in his career, too. And then in the forward position, we got Wayne Rooney for DC United. That's his first All-Star selection. Rooney hasn't been as good as he was last season. And, he's still scoring goals, but he hasn't been as lethal as he is from last season. But, again, this is probably understandable. I understand why he's selected because, it's not just DC fans kind of stuff the vote, but obviously a lot of people want to see some of the biggest name in the All-Star game. And that's also some of the thing about the MLS All-Star, where, not only I'm hoping the best players get into the All-Star Fan 11, but also probably the most well-known name in MLS, guys like Wayne Rooney, Carlos Vela, and Zlatan gets into the All Star game. And speaking of Zlatan, that is going to be the last player that is in this Fan 11. That of course is his second All Star selection, and I think alongside with Vela and Barco, he's another guy that definitely deserved to be in the All Star game because he's basically have carried this Galaxy team in the early part of the season, where he's really the only guy that can score goals for this team and able to kind of bail this team out in tough position time and time again this season. But that being said, that is pretty much it for the MLS All Star Fan 11. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this selection? Do you think that there are some players that definitely do not deserve to be in the All-Star game, but the fans of course kind of bailed him out? And who would you put in the MLS All-Star Fan 11 in and replace one of these guys that is right now on the board? So yeah, let me know in the comments below. I of course will do another video when they release the full roster for the MLS All-Star, the full 24-player roster, and I'll also probably do a video where I'm going to talk about probably the biggest snub in this All-Star game, because since in the MLS All-Star game where you only can have like 24 player in the All-Star game, which is probably the fewest player that you're going to get in an All-Star out of all 5 professional sport here in the States, there's going to be a lot of big snub that should have been in the All-Star game. So I'm going to probably make a video about that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.